Many years ago, in the beautiful city of Lagos, there lived a beautiful young woman named Oloma. Oloma was the only child of her aged parents. They had her after many years of waiting. Oloma's parents cherished and loved her dearly. She brought them hope when all have given up on them. Oloma's beauty could not be ignored. Her skin glowed. Her smile was contagious, with her beautiful loving eyes, which made her admired by everyone that saw her. Oloma had several suitors who asked for her hand in marriage, but she could not accept them because she had a deep secret which no one, even her parents, were aware of. But only her childhood friend Uju, who have always lived with her way back from secondary school days. Oloma had this health condition. She was a bedwetter even at the age of 27. This had been a traumatic experience for her. She had tried all she could to put a stop to this sad experience, which she had been having right from childhood. But all her efforts were futile. Oloma and Uju were very good close friends. They went to the same primary school, secondary school, and later found their way to the same university. Although they studied different courses, they have never lived apart from each other. People would always take them to be twins, as they wore the same clothes, wore the same hairstyle, sometimes wore the same shoes, and carried the same handbags. Their bond was very strong. Oloma had men coming around her, but she avoided them. She could only go out with those ones who insisted, and she would just go out with them, but never spent a night outside her home. She was afraid that spending a night outside her house would expose her deep secrets, which she have kept from everyone except Uju, who she trusted completely. She has been aware of her struggles. Olama was not just beautiful, she was intelligent and very hardworking. She graduated with distinction from the university and was able to secure a very high paying job with a reputable telecom company in Lagos. Although she would miss her parents, but she had to start her own life. As her both parents solely depended on her for provision, they were already retired and now depend on their pensions, which was small. Oloma was living in a very beautiful apartment. She had a beautiful car and was doing so well for herself. 2 years after graduation, Oloma invited her friend Uju to come and live with her in Lagos. Uju, her friend, narrowly graduated with a pass and could not get herself a job. She has been in the village with her parents, helping them in their farm. Oloma had really missed Uju so much, although Uju hesitated at first when Oloma asked her to come join her in Lagos. But after much persuasion from Oloma, she agreed and came to live with her. Uju was surprised when she entered Oloma's beautiful and tastefully furnished apartment. It was classy and comfortable. She had always known that Oloma had taste. Wow, Oloma, your house is very beautiful. See your beautiful glowing skin now. Oloma, look at your car. I know it's also yours. Yes, Oloma responded, smiling. Oloma, you really deserve it. You were indeed a shining light when we were growing up, and today all your hard work have paid off. Oloma was so happy to have Uju in her house. She could not hide her joy. She said to Uju, you know you are my best friend, and I cannot continue to watch you suffer when I'm enjoying such comfort. So please make yourself comfortable. You know this is also your house, Oloma said, smiling, as she led the way to show Uju her bedroom. Months later, Uju still could not get a job. She watched her friend Oloma go to work. She saw how her male admirers flocked around her whenever they were outside on errand. Some of her admirers were from her workplace. Oloma was always in pain. She sat alone on her bed one evening, her pillow soaked with tears. She had just turned down Emeka's proposal. Emeka was one of her colleagues who have always had eyes on her since she resumed work at their office. Emeka have really been nice to her. She really liked Emeka, but could not continue with their relationship, so she broke up with him. Oloma felt she was cursed. That was why she was having this health condition that have made life so terrible. Although physically everyone would attest she was doing so well for herself, but deep down in Oloma's heart, she needed help. but she could say nothing to no one. She knew she needed a man in her life, but she was afraid to take that bold step. She was afraid that if any man finally knew her deep secret, he would dump her, and she was not ready for that heartbreak. This was not the life she wanted for herself whilst growing up. She couldn't help it. Even her parents were clueless about her struggles. She was ashamed to share it with them. Her parents were pressuring her to get married, but what they never knew was that their daughter, though beautiful, who they believed would surely be having suitors. During one of Oloma's visits to her parents, Mama Oloma said to her, "Oloma, you see your father and I are old. We want to carry our grandchildren. Please, Oloma, settle down with one of these men. You are very beautiful, my child. Please, bring home to us one of these men. You know you are our only child," Mama Oloma said with a pleading eyes. But Oloma could not tell her parents her secret, the reason why she was still single. How can I tell them that I see bedwets at night? How was it possible to marry with such condition? She thought to herself. So Oloma kept her secret and only told her parents that it was not time yet, that she has not yet found the right man. "Mom, don't worry. Once I do find the right man, I would gladly bring him home," she said. A few months later, Oloma had gone to represent her company in a national summit in Abuja, and there she met Ugonna. Ugonna was also a participant, representing his organization just like Oloma. Ugonna was handsome, a perfect gentleman. He had this charming demeanor and was soft-spoken. And for the first time, Oloma found herself getting very attracted to Ugonna. This feeling was different. She was just smiling sheepishly as they conversed. Her heartbeat raced. She got so excited when Ugonna complimented her. "You are very beautiful," Ugonna said, smiling. Oloma smiled back, holding tight to her cup of coffee. So after the brunch, Ugonna asked Oloma for her phone number. She found herself not hesitating to give Ugonna her phone number. However, when Oloma returned back to Lagos, she still could not take off her thoughts from Ugonna. She also blamed herself for not collecting his phone number. She also thought that could have made her look cheap and desperate, so that was not a good idea. She felt different with Ugonna. He may be the right man for her, she said to herself. So one Saturday afternoon, Oloma was making lunch when her phone rang, and it was Ugonna. Her heart skipped. She was so excited to hear his calm and soothing voice. They spoke at length that afternoon. Ugonna promised to come and see Oloma the next weekend. Oloma was so happy. She quickly rushed to Uju's bedroom to share the news with her. "Uju, guess who just called me now?" Oloma said excitedly. "How do I know now, Oloma? Just tell me," Uju said desperately. "You know Ugonna now? The one I told you I met at the summit in Abuja. Well, he finally called," Oloma said, her face beaming with smiles. "It's fine. I'm glad you are fine now, because you have been disturbed for some time now, because of him," Uju said, forcing a smile. "My dear, who won't be? You need to see Ugonna. He's every lady's dream man, very charming and kind," Oloma said, blushing. A week later, Ugonna kept to his word. He flew from Abuja to Lagos to come and see Oloma. Oloma was so happy to welcome him into her cozy home. Oloma and Uju were good hosts to Ugonna, who really appreciated them. "I had fun, and your friend here is kind and beautiful," Ugonna said, complimenting Uju, whose cheeks flushed. She also found herself admiring Ugonna as she softly glanced at him. Although Oloma and Ugonna's relationship was distant, but there was no distance between them, as they were always on the phone talking and sharing their thoughts, their experiences, and everyday life activities. There was no gap between them. Oloma and Ugonna were deeply in love with each other. However, a few months later, Ugonna visited Oloma again, and this time, during their dinner date, to Oloma's surprise, Ugonna proposed to her. She was shocked, but gladly accepted his marriage proposal, which she had longed for since they met, even though she did not expect it to be this soon. Ugonna really loved and cared for Oloma. Oloma was overjoyed. For the first time, She believed she could have a normal relationship and life with Ugonna. Deep down Oloma's heart, she had this struggle whether to tell Ugonna about her health condition, but she was afraid how he was going to take the news. She felt so sad about it, but decided to keep it to herself. But Oloma, if you say you love Ugonna and he really loves you, why not tell him about your health condition so he'll be prepared for it? I don't think it's wise to hide such information from your fiance, Uju said with concern. I know, but I can't do that. I don't want to take any chances. I will lose Ugonna if I tell him this secret about myself, Oloma said, disappointing. Her face turned pale as she thought about the whole thing. She felt guilty deep inside, but she loved Ugonna so much and did not want to lose him. For Uju, deep down her heart, she really liked Ugonna. She has not been able to take her mind off since the last time he visited Oloma. She was jealous of Oloma. Right from primary school, Oloma had always been the brightest pupil. Oloma went to secondary school on federal government scholarship, and also her university was also on scholarship, which made her parents have less burden to send her through school. As they were only pensioners, Oloma had everything Uju never had. Oloma was very beautiful. She had suitors right from secondary school days, and now after university graduation, she already have a very good job, a beautiful house, a car, and now Ugonna, every lady's heart's desire. Oloma was indeed well favored and never struggled for anything. Uju had always had this low self-esteem. She thought to herself, I am Oloma's housekeeper, a cook, and errand girl. She doesn't even want to help me. Oloma is always on the spotlight, and my own is just to hype and support her. Is this what I came to this world to do? Uju felt this pang of pain in her heart, and for the first time, she resented Oloma, but would always pretend all was well with their relationship whenever she was around Oloma. What Oloma did not know was that Uju was envious of her. She would go and share her feelings and thoughts about Ugonna, how Ugonna was the best thing that happened to her. She would share the daily conversations and her plans with Ugonna, with Uju, who deep down her heart was unhappy with her friend's progress. Ugonna is such a perfect gentleman. I cannot wait to be his wife, Oloma would say, and Uju would force a smile. It was a few days to Oloma and Ugonna's traditional wedding. Oloma was in high hopes. She was happy that finally Ugonna and his people were coming to see her parents and he would perform her traditional marriage rites. Ugonna had to travel from Abuja to Lagos with his closest friend Buchi. They had planned to travel with Oloma and Uju to Oloma's family house in the east. A day to the day they would be traveling. Oloma had been trying to get Ugonna on his phone, but he was not taking his calls. Oloma called and called, yet he was not taking his call. She could not help but share her worries with Uju, who was in her bedroom pressing her phone. Don't worry now. You know Ugonna can be busy sometimes. He may be in an engagement, Uju said to Oloma, who looked very worried. Just be calm. He would soon be here, Uju said assuringly. Oloma waited and waited, and still Ugonna had not come to see her, nor was he taking his calls. Hours later, Oloma became tensed. What could be the problem? She wondered. She hoped and prayed nothing bad must have happened to him. This was unlike him. So later on that night, she managed to keep herself calm. She sat on her bed, looking very worried, lost in deep thoughts, when her phone beeped. It was Ugonna's message, which read, Oloma, I never knew you could be this cheap and deceitful. Oloma was surprised. She wiped her eyes to be sure if the message was from Ugonna, and she continued to read. You mean you still bedwet, and you hid such information from me? You had such a problem, and you never seemed it necessary to tell me. Well, since you could hide such information from me, that means I cannot trust you with my heart. Who knows what else you could be hiding from me? I am done. I cannot entrust my life with a liar and deceiver. I am done with you. As you read this letter, I'm already in Abuja. I just regret the time and emotions I wasted on our relationship. Oloma's hands shook in fear. She was lost for words. Her jaw dropped. Her secret was finally out. How did Ugonna find out? Who told him? But nobody knows my secret but Uju. Did Uju tell him? No now. Uju is trustworthy. She is my best friend. My sister. Oloma's heart was broken. Her world came crumbling. She was so sad and could barely walk. Could not believe that Ugonna had just left her. I just hope this is not Uju, Oloma said, as she managed to walk into Uju's bedroom. Latest bride now, what is it? Why are you sobbing? Your eyes are red. What happened? Uju quickly held Oloma's hands. How far with Ugonna? Have he called you? Uju asked desperately. Oloma, looking into Uju's eyes, said to her, Uju, I just want the truth and nothing else. Did you tell Ugonna about my health condition? Uju was not surprised. She scoffed. You know? Okay, Oloma, I told Ugonna about your health condition. I did it to save you. Can't hide such information from your man. I know that Ugonna really care and love you. If he says he really cares and loves you, he'll still go ahead and marry you. Uju said, unbothered. Oh God, Uju, what did I do to you? Uju, you stabbed me at the back. I thought we were sisters. How could you do such a thing to me? Loma wept. Uju, I have always been there for you. Right from when we were kids. I stood for you as a sister. What have I not done for you, Uju? Just this one thing, Uju. And you failed. What is it, Oloma? Why behave as if I'm the devil here? Your own is too much, I beg. You have always had the best. You are brilliant, very beautiful, and you have a very beautiful job. Whilst I'm here with you, in your apartment, I have no job. Don't even have a male admirer, even a secret one. I have always struggled for everything in life. I have always depended on you for everything. For your information, I also like Ugonna. Do you think you're the only one that have eyes for good things? You said unbothered. Oh, Uju, I never knew this is who you are. I had an enemy within, thinking I had a friend. So that night, Oloma sent Uju packing out of her apartment. Oloma sat on the floor of her bedroom, weeping, almost crying her eyes out. She thought Uju was a friend, and the sister she never had. She never knew she was dining with the enemy. She felt so sad that she found out late, and the damage has already been done. Oloma tried and tried to get Ugon on the phone so that she could explain to him, but he refused to take her calls. The days that followed were filled with regret. Oloma's heart ached for Ugonna. She knew she could not live with her secrets any longer. She needed help, as she could not continue to live in misery and pain of the health condition. So finally, she made up her mind to seek for medical help. And in the hospital, the doctor told her that her condition was called nocturnal enuresis, which refers to the involuntary urination during sleep that happens to an adult. He also promised her that it could be treated. Although Oloma was downcast, but became hopeful when the doctor told her that it was treatable. All she needed to do was to be intentional with her fluid intake during the day. She just had to be cautious even though it would take time. She needed to be patient since it was treatable. 2 years later, Oloma became better. She no longer was bedwetting. She now lived a normal life. Never had that sad experience. Oloma was preparing to celebrate her 30th birthday when she received a mail. It was from Ugonna. She was shocked. And in it, he was so sorry for turning her back on her when she needed him most. He was ashamed of himself and was sorry. He also said in the mail that he realized that it was not her fault, but that it was a health condition, and he promised to go with her to the hospital even if she needed surgery, that he really missed her, that he still loved and cared about her. Oloma was happy. She thought she had lost Ugonna and never expected him back. As she was still lost in thought, she heard a knock on her door which startled her, and when she went to get the door, to her surprise, it was Ugonna standing in front of her. Ugonna quickly knelt down and pleaded for her forgiveness. Please, Oloma, I behaved like a child. I was hurt that you could hide such information from me, but I should have given you a chance to explain yourself. But I just walked away. I was heartbroken. Please, Oloma, can you accept me back into your life? Let's give our love another chance. Please, Oloma. I'm very sorry. Ugonna looked remorseful, so after some time, Oloma went to him and held his hands. It's okay. I forgive you, Ugonna, and I'm also sorry for keeping you in dark about my health condition. Ugonna stood up and they hugged each other tightly. Oloma welcomed Ugonna into her life again. That evening, they had a lengthy conversation and also had dinner together before Ugonna retired back to his hotel room. However, a few weeks later, Ugonna and Oloma tied the knot in a lavish wedding which was aired on several social media platforms. Their families and friends and well-wishers were so happy for them. And that was how Uju got to know Oloma and Ugonna finally got married. She felt so bad about the turn of events, but there was nothing she could do about it. Uju realized she had gone so far. She missed Oloma. She had lost Oloma because of her jealousy. She tried calling Oloma on her phone. Oloma got to forgive her after she pleaded for forgiveness. But Uju and Oloma were never friends again. Oloma and Ugonna later had children and lived happily ever after. Thank you so much for listening to this story till the end. I appreciate you all for your time and support. One of the moral lessons from this story is to trust no one with vital information about yourself, especially your friends. Some things need to be kept secret from your friends. Remember, a friend can turn enemy tomorrow, and they could use such informations against you to their profit, just like in this story. I know there are still more moral lessons to be learned from this story. Please let's share our thoughts in the comment section so we can learn together. Please subscribe if you have not subscribed. Give this story a thumbs up and share with your loved ones and friends. Until next time, stay blessed and bye.